In this video, we're going to talk about using your home equity to your advantage and why it's still a good time to take a look at a cash out refinance, even though the rates are a little elevated now. My name is David Xie with the Xie Mortgage Team. What is a mortgage refinance? I have a lot of first-time home buyers that I always talk to, and they're constantly, we'll talk about the purchase of the home. And then when I mention refinance, they're like, what is refinance? So let's go ahead and dig deep into this. A refinance is basically when you're going in and redoing the loan that can allow you, the homeowner, you're the owner of the house at that time, to either secure a lower monthly payment, switch loan terms, consolidate debts, and maybe even take out some cash from your home equity to pay for some things, whether it be putting more money into retirement or reinvesting it into something else. And that's my number one thing that I always talk about in all of these videos is I'm a big investor and I love it, okay? However, we're basically redoing your old mortgage and turning it into a new mortgage with different terms. And this is how it's going to benefit you. So why would someone refinance a conventional loan into an FHA or VA or vice versa? And we'll kind of go into that. Number one, we'll talk about doing a government loan, FHA or VA, and refinancing that into a conventional loan. Where it would make sense is if your FHA loan that you currently have that includes mortgage insurance that you have to pay for the life of the loan is a higher blended APR than, let's say, a conventional loan, then that definitely makes sense to refinance, because conventional, if we're doing a cash out, we're going to be capping that at like 80%, okay, of the value of the home. And if you are somehow able to get a lower interest rate into a conventional loan, that's going to make more sense. Whereas a VA loan, when we're refinancing that into a conventional loan, the reason people want to do that is to free up that part of their VA, okay? And when they're freeing up that part of their VA, that's extremely helpful because then they can go and use that VA loan later on down the line. Now that we've addressed that part, why would people want to refinance in from a conventional loan into an FHA or a VA? This is quite simple as well. So VAs and FHAs typically do have a lower interest rate. There are definitely some reasons why they have lower interest rates. On the VA, there's an upfront funding fee. So you can think of that as discount points that you're paying to buy down the interest rate. And then on an FHA loan, there's not only that upfront mortgage insurance premium, which is like buying points upfront, but there's also a monthly mortgage insurance that never goes away unless you have a large sum of equity in the house. So that's definitely something that you should, explore when doing this cash out refinance, and talk to your loan officer about all the options. Love to help you with that as well. So you can feel free to give me a call, and I'll give you my phone number at the end of this video. The main reasons for the refinance is, number one, you want to change the loan term to either a shorter or longer term, right? Changing it to a shorter or longer term can definitely help. So if you change it to a longer term, that's going to extend the loan out a little longer, in turn giving you a smaller monthly payment. Whereas if you change it to a shorter term, that's also beneficial too, because most of the time when people change it to a shorter term, you're able to pay it off faster and you're able to access that equity later on, or maybe sell your house, or you just want to be debt free because you follow someone's system like a Dave Ramsey where you want to be debt free. Another reason people want to change their loan or do a cash out refinance is to gain equity to pay off debts, okay? Paying off debts is huge. I mean, interest rates are kind of through the roof right now. Most of your consumer debt, such as credit cards, are on some sort of revolving term, and they change terms, and they're typically at double-digit terms now for everybody. A cash-out refinance to consolidate some higher interest rate debts is going to be beneficial. So what I would always do is I would take your mortgage, and let's just say it's 4% right now. We want to add in that 8% auto loan as a payoff, and then we want to, pay off $20,000 in credit card debt that is equaling roughly, I would say, 15 to 18%. And when you have a blended rate on all of that, you're probably looking at about 7 or 8%. So if you were able to refinance and do a cash out at, let's say, 6%, that will be extremely beneficial to you, because you're going to have a lower monthly payment threshold, and then you're not making payments every single month, and the majority of that payment's going to interest. So definitely weigh all of that out. Third thing would be, I would say, to take the cash out to reinvest. this is probably my favorite way to reinvest, is to take cash out and, you know, reallocating that towards another investment vehicle. And I talk about this a lot in a lot of my previous videos. What you're doing is you're going to take the cash out, and let's just say right now you have a $2,000 a month mortgage payment after the cash out. Before the cash out, you had a $1,500 a month mortgage payment. So your monthly payment is increasing by $500. However, let's just say you have access to $80,000 in equity, which in turn give you this higher monthly payment of $2,000. Think about this though. If you took that $80,000 and let's just say you split that up into buying 2 single family or townhouses or condos, and you put $40,000 down on each one of these houses. In return, at $40,000, and let's just say both of these equal $1,000 a month mortgage payments. I'm sorry, I'm looking down. I'm trying to make sure I'm following this and giving you guys the right information. At that point, you're now changing your payment by $500 a month on your current mortgage. And we all know there's one thing that's going on in the world right now. And that thing that's going on in the world right now is rents are very high. Let's just say on the minimum, we're doing $200,000 houses here. That's how we got the $40,000 down payment. At $1,000 a month, let's just say you're able to charge $1,600 a month in mortgage payment or rent payments to your tenants. So those 2 properties are now gaining you $1,200 a month. However, your increase of $500 a month in monthly mortgage payment on your primary residence is still going to give you a $700 a month gain in income that's coming in. We're not only looking at the income gain every single month. One thing that we should really be looking at is now we have 3 houses that are being paid down, 2 by you or 2 by your tenants and 1 by you. And every single month that principal continues to go down. However, what happens with the equity, the value of the home? It's going to do this. It's going to do this number. 1 second it's going up, 1 second it's going down. So we always talk about cyclical, right? However, in the long run, while this is coming down every single month, this is doing this number right here. And pretty soon you've got this gap. What is this gap called? This is your principal and this is what the house is worth. This gap is called equity now. So now you have 3 houses that are constantly out there working for you, giving you equity. So that is my favorite way to use the cash out refinance proceeds. The next way to use it is for home improvements and renovations. I'll tell you, on my last home, when we sold the house, we had the house staged. We had everything done to the house. We had it looking really, really nice. And when my wife and I sat there and we looked at the house, we said, wow, we had no idea this house could look like this. Like, it made us want to stay there. However, at that point, we really wanted to switch to different school systems and just give my kids a better quality of life, family a better quality of life. So we took the equity that we gained in that house and reapplied it towards this house. And I'll tell you the reasoning behind all of this. The reasoning behind all of this is that we had a pretty hefty private school bill at that time to live in the nicer house in this neighborhood, the previous neighborhood. And when you added everything together, the monthly mortgage payment, the private school tuition, it was adding up to be close to $5,000 a month. So we said, wow, at that time, the interest rates were really low. And we said, hey, if we took all the equity that we gained in this house, because we lived in the house for many years, we got a great deal on it when we bought it, and we went to sell it, we had a large amount of money. We said, we're going to take all this equity out of this house and we're going to put it into the new house in one of the top neighborhoods in our area, and we will not have to pay for private school tuition anymore. And you know what happened? We actually saved a couple $1,000s a month by doing that. But that would not have been possible if we did not do the home improvements to the house to make it look extremely presentable. Like, I mean, by the time we walked out of the house, it looked like a new construction home. Taking cash out to do the home improvements or renovations is key. You know, it's better than taking out a credit card to do this. It's better than taking out a little loan at a higher interest rate to do it, because you have more leverage. I would definitely get a loan estimate or an estimate from the contractor that will be doing the work for you before closing, so that you can make sure that you have enough money allocated to the renovation. The other thing that I would say to do is, when you're lowering the monthly payment when you're doing the refinance is to allocate more money towards saving. Whether you're doing it as a standard loan or all-in-one loan, which we can get to in another video, what you're able to do is, if you can shrink that monthly payment and you can use the remainder to put into a retirement vehicle, now you're shrinking the amount of taxable income that you have too. You lower your monthly payment on the mortgage, which in turns, you can go to your IRA or your TSP or 401k, and you could increase that money going in there. Let's just say you're able to decrease your monthly mortgage payment by $300. In reality, if you were to put that into your 401k, I wouldn't just put $300. I'd put $400 or $500 because that's pre-tax income that's going in there. So that income will not be taxed. So that's going to help you build up this nest egg for future use. Because in reality, the best thing to always do is to have some sort of mortgage debt. The mortgage debt is there because it's tax deductible at this point. And if you're going to pass on some sort of something to your family or your heirs, I'd much rather pass on a huge lump sum of money and a mortgage that I've been paying on and it's paid down. If they want to keep it, great. You figure out a way to refinance the house and pull the equity and pay off the rest of your siblings. Or you just go ahead and sell the house and you split the proceeds. Let's now talk about adjustable rate mortgages and fixed rate mortgages and why it would make sense to convert from one to the other. A fixed rate mortgage is good. A fixed rate mortgage is good because you know what your rate's going to be. It's going to be fixed and that's it. And for many years, I was not a big fan of adjustable rate mortgages, but the more I understand an adjustable rate mortgage, the more I feel like it's the fair way of doing this. And it's almost like, I think it's a good idea. And I'll tell you why I think this. Number one, you have a fixed rate mortgage and let's just say you get a 5.5% or 6% rate today. You get that 5.5% or 6% rate today. And if the rates go down to 4%, guess what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to pay this great amount of closing costs to refinance to a 4% interest rate. However, what if you had an adjustable rate mortgage? The people that have adjustable rate mortgages when the rates were 2% and 3% and 4%, they're probably not that happy now, especially if it started adjusting already, because it's going to be adjusting based on the current market rate plus some. Whereas if they were to get an adjustable rate right now, let's just say at 6% or 7%, and if it continues to go down every 6 months or however often it adjusts, then at that point, it's going to adjust based on the current market rate, whether it be a LIBOR rate or any other factor that is being used to consider the adjustable rate mortgage. So my mother-in-law, when she purchased her house, she was on an adjustable rate mortgage. She bought it in the 6-7 range. And when the rate started going down, her rate was pretty much down to about 2% range. So it definitely made sense. So I know we talked about a lot of reasons to refinance and there's a lot of different options out there and there's even refinancing to pay off bankruptcies and things like that. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me and my team. My name is David Xie and I can be reached at 757-478-8493 and I am out.